Today's guest knows everything about our region, and it's her job. She's the go-to person and answer queen of everything Sarasota. Her energy is contagious, and I swear she never sits still, except today. She's one of those people who helps make living on the Suncoast such a great place to be. From Anna Maria down to Venice, she knows every restaurant, every shop, every beach, and everyone. She's a PR maven, an author, a mom, a wife, and her passion for helping others is incomparable. I'm talking about Nikki Logan Curran, and she's here with me today.
What a nice intro. I feel like I have to up my game now.
Well, I'm sorry, we've run out of time.
Thank you.
I'm thrilled because, I mean, you just came from a photo shoot.
I did. We were at Stage this morning, shooting this morning for Volume 8.
And you're on your way out to do another one right after this.
Yep.
So enjoy the air conditioning while you can.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
A bottle of water down there, too.
Thank you. I'll take you up on it.
Just in case.
Yeah.
So what drew you, because you're a Southern gal.
I am a Southern gal. I'm a Mississippi girl, right on the coast.
Wow.
Yeah. Our family has been there. Most of my family is still there. The siblings spread out. Once in San Francisco, I'm here. But my brother's still there, yeah. But right, that last little city in the very bottom corner, all of us were little island rats and water babies. All of us, still to this day.
Sweet. So how'd you end up in Sarasota?
It's kind of a loop journey. I was in Orlando working for Disney, and I'd taken a quick little trip down to Key West for the weekend. I was on an internship through their college program. And then I saw that they had satellite courses through like University of Miami and Florida Keys College. And so I came back and quit my internship, which was already at an extension, so there was no bad blood there. Moved down to Key West for, I don't know, I think maybe 5 years or so. Had the longest undergrad ever. Then went out to Arizona State, was there for a few years, and really just honestly missed the water.
Yeah.
You know,
Is that where you got your degree, was Arizona State? Okay.
Yeah, but I just missed being, you know, Arizona's beautiful, and I did it. I mean, from the bottom of the Grand Canyon to San Francisco Peak, like I really enjoyed living there, but I'm such an ocean girl. I needed to be back here, and a lot of our friends, you know, a lot of us had young kids. My oldest was only a year and a half, and so we all kind of moved here together. There were about 10 of us.
So you're in Arizona. Were you missing the humidity?
I honestly was. I mean, that whole dry heat thing is like a hairdryer. So I'm down for humidity. I'm a fan. I'll take the humidity over dry anytime.
and you are the publisher of the Scout's Guide.
The Scout Guide, yes.
The Scout Guide, and that's kind of what brought you to Sarasota in a way.
It's kind of the culmination of everything I've done in Sarasota. So I've been here since 2001. So I managed Tommy Bahama when it was a compound, which is very, you know, sort of culture-driven. Yeah. Sarasota was only the second Tommy Bahama in the entire country.
Really?
Yeah, it started down in Naples. So coming from, you know, a really customer-driven culture like Disney, and then going to Tommy Bahama, and I was marketing director for Whole Foods for about 7 years and had my own company in between that. So it's all just sort of a culmination of connecting dots and having people meet each other and celebrating everybody's success. So it's kind of all just landed me here to the Scout Guide, and I love it. I love it.
I won't tell you how many Tommy Bahama shirts I own.
I can probably still name them. I'm crazy like that.
I'll
if they're
share some
vintage,
pictures.
I'll know them.
Oh, I do have some vintage, and I've got some newer ones.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So somewhere along the way, you met your husband, David.
I did, and he was about from me to you, and we worked together for 5 years. I never saw him outside of work except for one time when I gave him an event ticket to the very first, I don't know if you were here, when Chill Lounge started, but I gave him and his partner at that time, his girlfriend, a ticket, and I saw him outside, and that was probably 3 years before. And then we both had a relationship plot twist, and I could overhear him talking to like his teammates at Whole Foods, and we had kind of a similar situation. And one day I was just like, hey, I'm walking over to O'Leary's when I get off at 5. And yes, he loves to tell everybody that I technically asked him out. But anyway, we walked over to O'Leary's, and I'm not kidding you, Robert, we sat there for probably 7 hours, and we left knowing we would be married, and I never dated another person. He was the only drink I had after a 20-year relationship. And now it's going on 12 years.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow. But you knew right there, right then.
We had never even really had a full-on conversation.
Until you had that conversation, and then you thought.
Because we were both in a really like similar sort of breach of contract breakup, And so we talked about what would it look like if two people went into a relationship 100-100. It's my job to make all the money, raise the kids, clean the house, make me happy, make you happy, entertain us, entertain our. What if both people went into a relationship where everything was your job? And anything else you needed, like, be articulate about it. Like, hey, can you please do this for me at this time, this way? And say what you need really clearly. And we work hard to stick to it.
So your relationship, because you said you both went into it 100%. Are relationships 50-50? Are they 100-100, 70-30?
They should be 100-100.
Okay.
People keep tabs, and that's where you get hung up on, I did the dishes, and I can't believe he didn't take the trash out, and I can't believe she did this, and none of it matters. None of that stuff matters.
What matters?
Putting your head on that pillow, and did you make a difference? Did you make your partner feel so loved today? Like, how did you make them feel validated and important and beautiful, and are you grateful? Did you tell them you're grateful?
Oh, you're going to make me cry.
It's because I don't want to take it for granted. And I try, and he's so great at keeping me grounded, and I'm busy, like you were saying earlier. I'm very much go, go, go. But I can get like really nervous because we're representing so many brands, so a lot of times I find myself like, okay, I have to be a little less this and a little more this just to kind of keep the peace, because we are dealing with so many different businesses and personalities and religions and politics. And so he helps me stay me and let that be okay.
And meanwhile, you've got 2 kids.
Yes. One started grad school this week at UF, and one started high school at Sarasota High.
Wow.
I know.
Now, are they both yours and David's? Are you blended? You're a blended family?
We're a blended family. So when David and I started dating, my oldest Brandon was 10 and Waylon was 2. So Waylon, doesn't really remember me not being his stepmom. As for Brandon, he was an only kid, and that was very much like, we have a 2-year-old in the house now, so it was way more difficult for him. But they're getting older now. That's a huge age gap. So, now they have YouTubers in common and video games and music. So, it's been a big difference this last year. Has been really, really great. And that is something that's come out of COVID. People, whether you had a great experience or a bad experience, COVID did bring people together. And
10-year age gap with the kids. Yeah.
About 8.
8 years.
14, 14 and 20.
Oh,
yeah.
14.
Yeah.
Math, I'll be working on that next week. My sister and I are about 7 years apart. So I can understand the dynamics of when you've got 2 kids of it's almost like raising 2 only children.
Right. Well, my siblings, I'm 7 years older than my sister, Sarah, and she's 7 years older than my brother, Taylor. So my poor parents had like 21 years of teenagers. God bless them. So yes, I'm right in your boat. We're all 7 years apart too.
Are your parents still with us?
They are with us on Earth, but they're no longer together. They both are with separate partners and very happy and living their best life. My mom travels around in a Volkswagen bus, and my dad does his thing, staying a little closer to home. So they're very opposite, but they're very happy. So that's good.
Well, and good, and you keep in touch.
Oh yeah,
and all of that. So it's an understatement that you're a foodie.
I know. I swear, I should really work on calming that down a little bit.
Because you worked for Whole Foods for a while as well.
I did. I love it so much. I swear to you, David and I wake up and we roll over and we're like, what wine are we drinking tonight and what are we having for dinner? It's literally like the first and last thing we talk about every day. We love it so much. I love it. But you know what? I think like...
Do you have a spare bedroom I could move into?
I do.
That's how I
do.
I look at my days too. It's like, what am I making for dinner?
I told David, I was like, when Waylon moves out, we should just start having our friends over for like good old... Bring back the sleepover, like the adult sleepover. I think that whole vibe needs to come back.
Yeah, I haven't had a sleepover in...
I know.
I haven't had a date in even longer, but...
We'll work on that.
Or a sleepover. God. Anyways, so you and I actually first met on Suncoast View when I was there, and I have to tell you, the first day that we met, because you're there every Wednesday, and sometimes other days in between. Wednesdays your gig, and I walked into the studio and I saw this woman. I saw this woman moving around like a tornado in the studio, and you were setting up a table with some sort of a tableau. I don't remember specifically what it was, but I kind of stopped in my tracks and went, "Whoa, what is going on here?" And I thought, she obviously knows what she's doing. Nobody had told me who you were or what your story was. So all I saw was this wild woman's doing all of this and getting
probably
people
on 3
going.
cups of coffee at 8 a.m.
And I thought, dang.
Well, you're just a big smiley guy too. So I was like, oh, this must be our new guy on campus, and you're quite the veteran. So you're not a new guy in terms of experience.
No, but new there. But I realized I think I met like my new best friend, because you had it going on and you know exactly what to do. I mean, you know how to do TV, you know how to do print, you know how to do media. I guess
I never think about all that stuff when you line it up.
Yeah, but I have to ask, so what don't you know how to do that maybe you'd like to learn?
I'd really like to be, this sounds so silly. David wakes up every morning and does a crossword puzzle. And I don't know if you ever saw like the 20-year study. They've done 2 of them now. It was either Harvard or Stanford. And that was like the #1 thing for brain, like maintaining good cognitive function. But I never take the time to slow down and do any of those like building your brain activities, crossword puzzles, word searches, Sudoku, any of that kind of stuff. I need
I don't either.
I don't do any of that stuff, and I know how important it is. And we have a history of Alzheimer's in our family and dementia, and I'm like, I don't take any time. Everything I'm doing is exactly the opposite of what I need to be doing to like stop and do a puzzle or meditate. So I would definitely say I don't know how to slow down, or maybe that's a little I don't know, maybe a little lazy on my part. I don't take the time to do it. I do have time.
So that's something that you'd like to learn how to do?
But I do think it's something you learn, because I'm so ingrained on go, go, go. I don't even know how to make myself stop. Like, what's next? What are we doing? And I function highly that way. Like, I know I have ADD. I have really bad dyslexia. So like moving quickly from task to task, that's why I thrive in the business that I'm in, because every couple hours is a totally different thing.
Constant motion.
But I do need to learn to take time to work on quieting my mind and really working on the long-term viability of it, so I don't go crazy by 70.
I'm already crazy, but I embrace my crazy, which leads me to my next question, but we're kind of already answered it, about taking a day off. Do you ever take a day off?
I take a day off. It is not right now. We are in full production. So like these are my very, very busy months. But like January and February, we launch in December. Those are such beautiful months to me. There's not a whole lot going on. Like I feel really at peace. It's before event season starts, so all the events and galas and all that stuff aren't going on, and those are like my really peaceful months. But a day off, I can, and if it was a perfect day off, I'd wake up and hang out at home, listen to some records for a couple hours, go out on the boat, talk about whatever delicious thing we're going to eat that night, go home and cook, and just my favorite place is our dinner table. Honestly, I love it. If we're home, we're always eating at the table. We actually talked about it on the show the other day. So, if David and Whale and I are at home, we eat at the table every night.
Yeah.
Every night. And I love it. I do. I love it. We're trying to teach our 14-year-old about wine. We're not having him drink it, so nobody give any jazz. But I'm like, you can be the 18-year-old kid, like pouring out the wine glass and clearing the table, or the 18-year-old kid that can speak to wine and actually make some money serving. So, up to you. He picked out blackberry in a wine the other night, so we were super proud of him. Silly, but It's true.
No, and in Europe, I mean, you think of they talk about it about kids in France, that they will have, or Italy, they will have a glass of wine at the table.
He hates it.
Oh, he does?
Oh,
well,
he totally hates it. And we don't make him sip it, but, just understanding the nose of some wine.
Okay.
He's getting there. But it's true. Like, you can be the kid bussing tables or you can be the kid waiting tables. So it's up to you. But I don't know. We really don't have a whole lot of other skill sets to offer him because all we do is food and wine and connecting people. So that's our pitch into the world. So
I ask almost every guest, tell me something that we don't know about you.
that's a tough one because I do feel like such an open book. Like I tell maybe to a fault everybody everything. But earlier we were talking about adventures. I up until being when Brandon was, I guess I stopped when he was around 13 or 14 maybe. Every summer I went to another country for 4 or 5 weeks to volunteer. Haiti, Peru, Guatemala, even all across Siberia. And I think knowing what real problems are and what real poverty is, I think that's what keeps me grounded and not sweating the small stuff. No road rage, no, frustrations like we were talking about earlier in relationships, little silly stuff around the house, because I've seen what real struggles are. And even David, he's lived all over the country, or all over the world for that matter, in the Navy. So I think we know how to stay in a place of gratitude. But those trips definitely changed my life. It changed my parenting. I think it made me a better daughter, a better boss, certainly a better wife. But yeah, I think once you know that, you can't unknow that. And then it's just your choice to take that and ride with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your guilty pleasure?
Gosh, my guilty pleasure. Honestly, it's how much I truly love food and wine. I mean, it's my obvious pleasure, but it's also my serious guilty pleasure. I mean, we love it to the extreme, to the point where I'm sure someday they're going to be like, you need to lay off. Like, you need to lay off the too big dinners and the too much wine and all the things. But, food and wine is what brought culture together to begin with.
Yeah, for millennia.
I mean, for thousands of years.
Yes.
You've come together when you're happy. You've come together when you're sad. You've come together to celebrate. You've come together to grieve. And so I don't find any other place that brings me that much joy, especially even bringing big groups together, like when we throw events and everybody's, sitting around and experiencing the same thing together. There's an energy and a love in that. And it's just my favorite thing.
I'm with you on that. I love, this is actually one of my guilty pleasures, and it's weird because it's kind of like working, but it isn't working.
Yeah.
Because I love talking to people and I love hearing their stories. And Nikki, I want to thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
For sharing some stories. Would love to have you back on because
Sure.
I know there are more stories to be told.
Yes. We can take them by 10-year chunks.
There you go. Let's talk about that. And I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for the emails, info@suncoastpeople.com. And if you would like to support the show, we'd be grateful. I have a Patreon account, patreon.com, patreon.com/Suncoast People, and it's right here on the screen. I'm Robert Tim, and thanks for watching.